Success in life isn't what you know, it's how much you're prepared to rip in and have a go. I mean, knowing things is obviously important. Yeah. Like, you can't judge the size of someone's motor. And in life, that's everything.
The guy I went to school with had a tattoo on his arm. I remember it clear as day now, which is good, better, best, never let it rest till your good is better and your better is best. And I think you just have to keep trying to get better.
When you lose that confidence, it's about finding what makes you tick again. It's about putting things into perspective and going back to the process.
If your business isn't going forward, it's going backwards because everyone around you is going forward. So if you're not, you're going backwards.
Yep. Talent's important, but discipline is more important, because your fallback position in life, if you've got the ability, has to always be disciplined. Yeah. Or else you end up just not quite getting to your potential, right?
Yeah. I've had heaps of good advice, Sam, but at the end of the day, dream big, possibilities are endless. And just believe in yourself.
Do or do not, there is no try, which means if you're going to do something in life, just do it, back yourself, otherwise don't do it at all. There's no trying if you're not 100% in.
All right, we're back.
We're back.
We're definitely back.
We are back in 26. I think I might have been a little bit too excited then. Luke out the back. he did not appreciate my shouting there, but welcome, Nathan.
Geez, that break did you good, mate.
Happy New Year. Oh, mate, I'm ready to go. Scotty Kelleher's in the house.
Absolutely. I'm vibing.
You're vibing?
Yes, I'm vibing.
Mate, here in our elaborate podcast headquarters, which nobody knows about. It's a secret lair we have at Harcourts Property Centre.
Ah, very good. So I've got to forget how I got here.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a bit of men in black about it afterwards, but mate, we'll be fine. Scotty Kelleher, the man, the myth, the legend, all loves the Bayside. So, Scotty, you've been an auctioneer for Australia's largest real estate group.
Yes.
You've been a sales manager. You've been a business owner, and now you are just loving life as a sales agent down on the Bayside. And I would say you would have the highest clearance rate just about out of anyone within Harcourts Property Centre. And mate, close to 100%, I reckon we went last year.
Yep. There was one. That never sold.
Yeah, we don't talk about it.
No.
But, mate...
We had bidding, though. I will preface that
absolutely. So 100% bidding. But, mate, today, we talk about the GOAT. You're the GOAT today. Auctions are the GOAT, which is obviously close to my heart. So, mate, I suppose, looking back now, you've done all those roles. What drew you initially to the auction process? What gets you excited about auctions in 2026?
It's a really good question. What drew me to the auction process? I think my first auction, would have been about 2006.
Yep.
And I joined a group. Actually, I started my real estate career with an organisation that don't do auctions. In fact, they're anti-auction.
All right. Does it rhyme with Denman?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Really? And I remember when I'm working in that office, I said to the principal one day, I think I'd like to be an auctioneer.
That would have been good for your business.
Yeah, and he looked at me and said, we don't do auctions. And I'm like, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
I still want to be an auctioneer.
Yeah.
So
that was a genuine career killer. I think on their list or on their websites, number one would be mentioning the auction word.
That's true. So from that point, I was a square peg in a round hole. And then I changed businesses, and actually the business I went to, funnily enough, right back then was the Harcourts Bayside Property Group.
Right.
In Wynnum.
Yep.
And so I went and did my Harcourts training, but the principal at the time
was Chief Auctioneer.
Chief Auctioneer of Harcourts, and he was the reigning REIQ Auctioneer of the Year.
Yep.
So that's where I started to learn about auctions and the auction process. Interesting enough, though, I never listed an auction while I was in that business.
Yeah, right.
I left that business and went to work across the road, and then come under the training of Dane Atherton.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, right.
So, and that's where kind of I embarked down the the auction path. The interesting thing, once I did a bit more research, it's if you look at the top businesses in the country, generally they'll be doing the most auctions, and typically the top agents in the country are the top auction agents. So that kind of got me down that path, and I really like the process around it. My background is the military, so I'm process orientated, and once I got that structure around auctions, and I just had to do the same thing over and over and over. That's really where it started.
No, hey mate, and you know what a career you've had. So you know, obviously working through the process, going from your infancy with Genman all the way through to working, you know, alongside or in a business that was with Dane and having that auction nous. You must have. You must now know and be able to identify what, you know, makes a good auctioneer, and you know what is that for you?
For me, a really good auctioneer, I think, needs to have been a really good auction agent.
Yeah,
because it's one thing to stand in front of a crowd and add numbers up. It's another to be able to get to a property, précis the situation, understand what the agent's going through, understand what the buyers are going through, understand what the seller's going through, and then bring it all together. So the strongest and best auctioneers I know are really excellent negotiators.
Yeah.
Because that's where anyone, when you've got 15 registered bidders and a great reserve, the next door neighbour could sell that property.
Yeah.
Like folks who'll pay
$1
million for it. He'll give you more than that. That's not, and it might sell $200,000 above reserve, and the auctioneer will pat themselves on their back. But it's when you turn up and you've got one bidder, and somehow you've got to get that property sold under the hammer. That's where you'll see who's a good auctioneer.
Yeah, and that'll be an interesting stat, because I know, you know, I don't keep, you know, great records around the auctions that I've called, but you know, the ones that I have great memories of have sometimes just been one-on-one negotiations.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you know, that's what we're here for. It was a live negotiation on the floor, and we were able to get it done, and that was the, you know, I think that does. You know, I always said that I think the negotiating auctioneer is brilliant, and why I believe and still believe that Queensland auctioneers are far better, and this will be controversial because obviously we're breaking airwaves on this podcast. We'll be across Australia and New Zealand really quickly. But why I believe Queensland auctioneers are the best is because it hasn't always been easy to get buyers involved in auctions, and so you've had to be able to negotiate. And so a lot of our auctioneers do negotiate, where other states and territories, the auctioneer doesn't leave the
kind of the podium. Yeah.
Well, Melbourne and Sydney, it's a sport down there.
Yeah.
It's a Saturday sport. You either take your kids to an actual rugby league soccer game or AFL, or you take them to auctions down there.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But, yeah, when you talk about process and that, there's auctioneers that like the limelight and the show but don't understand the process because they've never done it.
Yes.
How did you find the transition between both roles, as the agent and the auctioneer?
Yeah, it was interesting. I actually found moving to be the auctioneer quite easy, because I understood the process back to front as an agent. I knew what my role was as the agent, and also knew what the auctioneer's role was. So the transition was easy in that way. What was hard was my fear of public speaking, because I was absolutely petrified of public speaking. I remember the first auctioneers course I did, it was with Dane Athen, and it was at the Southport Yacht Club, the boat club there. Yeah. And I was halfway down to the Gold Coast, and I'm like, little Scott's in my head going, just turn around, just go back. Like, what are you doing? Yeah. And I'm like, nah, I'm going. Yeah. So I got down there, and I thought it was a beginner's auctioneers course. So I got down there, and I've walked in, and all these guys knew one another. Yeah. So it wasn't a beginner's auctioneers course.
Quite a fraternity.
Yeah, it is. And they all called auctions before or were auctioneers, and I'd never called an auction in my life.
Yeah.
But I remember we sat down and Dane got us up pretty much straight away, and you had to call an auction. You had scripts that you had to learn, and he got me up first, and I'm like, oh, no. So I've got up, and I'd only seen 2 auctioneers, and that's Dane and Dean Tucker before. So I got up and just did what they did.
Yeah.
And everybody's looking at me, and I'm like, oh, it must be really bad. And Dane looked at me, and he's like, so you've never called an auction before? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
He goes, well, I won't be coming back to win them.
Yeah.
Your guys will be using you from now on. And it's the weirdest feeling I've ever had. When I started calling auctions, it was like it was somebody else there. And I don't know, it was probably a sign at the time. It's like, this is what you're meant to be doing.
Yeah.
So then from then on, it was kind of up and up. And while I was at Remax, Dane convinced me to go into the REIQ Auctioneer of the Year competition.
Yeah.
So I went in that, didn't know, I hadn't been to one before, didn't know what it was. And
mathematics competitions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you're in that room, and there was I think there were 15 auctioneers.
Yeah.
And they've got the scenario set up, and you have to draw a marble out of the bag.
Yeah.
And so I've drawn 15.
Oh, you sat there all day.
Sat there all day.
Oh, that's brutal.
And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I'm getting more nervous and more nervous.
Yeah.
And so I've gone into the room, and by now it's full of the 14 other auctioneers who knew what they were doing. I'd never called an auction before still.
Yeah,
I hadn't called one before I went in there. So I've gone through the process, called my auction, and I'm like, I've just got to walk in there like I own the place and do it. So I did that. And afterwards, I introduced myself to a few guys, and we're sitting there, and the 4 finalists go through to the final. So the first 3 were like well-known, highly regarded auctioneers, and the 4th one was Scott Kelleher from Remax in Wynnum.
Yeah.
I could see everybody looking. It's like, who's he?
Yeah.
So
what? That's 2006 or 7 or?
that would have been I can't actually remember the year that was.
How'd you go?
I didn't win. Oh, well, actually, I didn't win, but I did win.
Yeah.
So out of that, the competition, a guy called Peter Camphon, he was the CEO of
Ray White at the time.
Ray White Queensland at the time, and he saw me call the auction, and then wanted to catch up afterwards for a coffee, and out of that came the opportunity to go and work at Ray White Queensland under him and their chief auctioneer, Phil Parker, which was like real estate university.
Yeah.
It was, in the couple of years I was there, I just learnt so much from Peter, from Phil, from the agents, like calling auctions. That's where I really started to see, because you turn up with some agents and they would sell 10 out of 10 under the hammer.
Yeah.
And all different proproperties. It had nothing to do with the property. Ian Cuneo was the master.
Yeah.
And there was another gentleman, Michael Calder. They're probably 2 agents who I knew if I was turning up, they were going to sell.
Yeah.
So much so with Ian, he'd be like, I think they'll come in. I reckon that's our buyer over there.
Yeah. He knew he was a conductor.
He knew. Yeah. He was the conductor.
The puppet master.
And with Ian, I never had to get involved.
Yeah.
Like I just stood at the front, added the numbers up.
Yeah.
And the rest looked after itself. And I was like a sponge at the time. It's like, what do you do? What do you say?
Yeah.
How come I come to your auctions and you sell them all, yet others I'm going to nicer properties, but there's no bidders.
So what is it? Yeah. Like if you the goat-worthy advice for the viewers out there, and no doubt there's lots of real estate agents listening.
Yeah.
May have an auction campaign at the moment. What is the one thing that you think is really critical that you have to do with an auction, and what's like the biggest no-no, the killer of momentum?
Yep. I honestly believe that we've got to get out of the road.
Yeah.
And let the market come together. Let the buyers come together with the seller. Yeah. Going from a private treaty agent to an auction agent, private treaty agent, you tend to be the defender of price, which is the killer of an auction, trying to boost the price up, trying to justify the property's value. The buyers know what the property's worth. They know better than what we do. They're looking at properties every weekend.
Well, there's a lot of data out there now.
There's heaps of data out there. And, we obviously want to do a great job and get the best possible price for our seller, but ultimately the market will dictate that. So we're lucky in Queensland because we can't quote price.
Yeah.
It makes it hard to get in the way. And agents that do kind of quote price,
they're probably the ones that are standing in the way.
Absolutely.
Defending price.
They're standing in the way. And I don't know, come auction day, I don't know what any given buyer is going to do. I don't know what any given seller is going to do, and neither do they until they're in that environment.
Yeah.
So my job, particularly, these days I'm like a kid in a toy shop.
Yeah.
Like literally, all I've got to do at HPC is just get bidders there.
Yeah.
Because you turn up, call the auction, Brooksy comes along, or Nathan comes along to help work the floor.
Yeah.
It's like they're my I've got goosebumps now just thinking about it. Like I love it.
Effort.
I love it that much, but I've just got to get the bidders there.
Yeah.
Which means, the first question they'll ask me is, what's it worth? What's the seller want? And a property's not worth what the seller wants or what I think it's worth.
No.
It's what the market is prepared to pay. So the only information that's relevant is what that person's prepared to pay for it.
Yeah.
So it's getting
it's the encouragement, isn't it?
Absolutely it is, yeah.
Like if you take that step back and go, well, what's my role and what's my primary focus in this campaign?
Yep.
It's to have bidders there.
Absolutely.
So like you said before, and I've heard you speak about this before, but you need to have bidders to sell a property at an auction. And I've told this story once or twice, but I entered in 4 REIQ competitions. Made the final 4 times. I won them 4 times, to be cruelly overruled by the judges. But I remember sitting at another auctioneer's engagement party, and Mark McLeod, real estate trainer from Ray White again. And we were talking about it, and Mark says to me, Sam, I don't understand auctioneer competitions. Like, why do you need to have an auction competition for the most unimportant person in the transaction?
Yep.
And I was like, and I was an auctioneer at the time, I was like, whoa, Mark, we're very important. And he's like, well, Sam, tell me this. How many properties have you sold where there hasn't been a registered bidder? And I was like, is that a quick question? Is that a trick question, Mark? Like, I haven't sold any properties where there's no registered bidder.
Yep.
He goes, so you can't sell the property if there's no registered bidders? I said, no. I said, so you're not important. The most important person in the whole transaction is the agent, because the agent has to get the bidders there.
Absolutely.
And truth be told, I never entered another auction competition from that date on. It's one of those things that's always stayed with me, and that's why when I think to you, and I know you say the story now around our business, is the fact that your job is to collect the bidders, and then on the day, you are the conductor now who is just, trying to corral the bids from the floor.
Yep.
And I think that's really, really important advice for everybody out there.
100%. I think that, and there's a couple of things around that. I guess I'm fortunate. I can sit in a listing presentation and tell the vendor that there will not be an auction in Australia with more experience than their particular auction. Like, if we go to auction, we're selling.
Yeah.
And that's in my mindset. Like, that property will be sold.
Yeah.
So, and I think also too, one of the big things, and it's a life skill more than a real estate skill, but being prepared to fail is really important. And it's not so much the fear of failure why agents don't choose to do auctions. It's the fear of ridicule. Like, it's public failure and what people will think. So you got to be prepared and you got to face it the right way. Like, if I have a property that doesn't sell under the hammer, I blame one person for that.
Me.
Yeah, I blame the auctioneer. And then I get home and think about it. It's like, well, hang on. Sam can't sell the property if I haven't got him bidders.
Yeah.
So it's my job to get the bidders there. It's my job to make sure the seller is well aware of what the market is talking, so they can base their reserve around a realistic number that the market's talking.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that that's where the property will sell, but it's a key component of a property selling. And then also having the bidders there, but not only just having the bidders there, having them there, trained up, ready to bid, understanding the auction and not standing there with their hands in their pockets because they are too scared.
Yeah.
They've got anxiety because they don't know the process, they don't know what the outcome is. So that's really important, is to have a really good relationship around the buyers or with the buyers, so they feel comfortable, they know who you are, they know who Brooksy is, they know who Nathan is, they know that the team will be there on auction day to help them. Because if they just turn up and these big guys in suits walking around, that can be quite intimidating.
Yeah, we're all quite svelte, so.
Exactly. But it's an event and it's a process, and there's nothing better. I mean, people do real estate for different things, but selling a property under the hammer, I mean,
there's no better feeling.
Nah, there's not.
Well, not too many better feelings.
No, there's not. And then to walk out the front of the property at the signboard, and you've got the sellers on one side, the buyers are on the other side, in front of the sold sticker, and they're telling, like, the sellers are telling the buyers about the property and everything they put into it. That's real estate.
Yeah.
That gives me that's why I keep doing it. And that's like, I haven't been more excited to be in real estate than right now.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've got the benefit of hindsight, and I get to go out and all the stuff that I didn't enjoy doing, that's your problem now.
Yeah.
I just get to do the fun stuff.
Yeah.
That I'm good at, and it took me a long time to work that out.
Yeah.
Where do I fit in real estate? And now auction day, like I'll buzz a week beforehand, and because I know the work's been done.
Yeah.
It's been done from, well, I might have known, most of the time I've known the seller for 5 or 10 years before we get the chance to do business.
Yeah.
But then, you know, we sat down and we planned the campaign, we did the marketing, we got that right. The buyer inquiry, we got that right. We handled the buyers' questions correctly. We treated them with respect. We built relationships with them. So it's like they need to come to the best open home in our marketplace or in the country.
Yeah.
And then when they make offers on the property, we've got to sit down and explain, this is Form 2, this is a contract, this is Clause 3, this is Clause 4, this is what a cooling off period is. And just DocuSign it to them and go, hey, navigate that for yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's where that time with the buyer, that's where you build the relationships. That's where if they feel comfortable around that process, they might make an offer, the seller decides to go all the way to auction, that's okay. That's okay. You're in with a good shot. The best thing you could have done is make that offer, because now the seller knows where you're thinking price-wise. That's data they can use to set the reserve price. So the best thing you could have done is make that offer. Let's talk about how auctions work. So I spent that half an hour to an hour with them in the office or at their dining table. And then, so when it comes to teach them about auction, hopefully they'll trust me. They'll take my advice and turn up and have a fighting shot at the property.
Yeah.
And the best part is, if they miss out, I've taught them how auctions work.
Yeah.
So they can go somewhere else, buy a property off another agent
Yeah.
with the information I've taught them.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic, because in 5 or 10 years, they'll come back to me, hopefully, as the seller. Yeah. But even getting those phone calls, it's like, oh, Scott, we would have loved to have bought off you, but we went to this auction and we bought, but thanks very much for the advice. So, yeah.
So, sorry, Sam, but one question I have is,
Yep.
over the last 12 months, I've been impressed that you've backed yourself with in-rooms.
Yep.
Can you talk me through in-rooms, why you decided that versus on-site?
Yep. Yeah, it's a good question. And it's a different environment, but that's one of the main reasons I do it, is I can control the environment. An in-room auction doesn't matter about the weather, doesn't matter about the neighbour mowing the lawn and getting the whippersnipper out. If they've had a disagreement with the owners, I'll get them back. But also too, the energy at an in-room auction event that's done well, when you've got 5 or 6 properties with 5 or 6 bidders on each one, it's an amazing environment. And then obviously time management as well. It frees up. So Saturdays are for open homes.
Yeah.
So obviously, if you've got an on-site auction of a Saturday, it's you got to get set up an hour before. You've got the auction itself, which is half an hour to an hour, and then you've probably got an hour afterwards. So there's half your day gone on a Saturday, which is our premium day. Whereas an in-room auction event, we can do 5 in that 2 or 3 hour period. We could probably get 10 auctions done.
Yeah,
We've got the admin staff there to do the contracts. We've just got more people there. It's an enjoyable environment. And realistically speaking, the buyers have already bought the property before they turn up to the auction, whether it's on site or in room.
Yeah.
The whole emotional experience of being at the property is
they're still buying it. You're still spending $2-3 million bucks.
Yeah.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it can be it's a bit of a furphy to think that you need to be at the property on site.
Yeah.
And you might not get as many neighbours turn up, but you will if you go and door knock them and invite them.
Yeah.
100%.
So it's getting out there and what's old is new again. In real estate.
Yeah. Oh, mate, as you know, I love auctions and I think they're incredibly important. You said before the fear of failure around why some agents may not do it because they don't want to look like a dill on auction day.
Yeah.
I've always tried to flip that script because it's also the world's most public listing presentation.
Absolutely.
If you do it well.
Yep.
And, so I've seen, I think at one stage last year, we had auctioned 4 houses in one street, and it was literally every time I'd turn up, I'm thinking to myself, oh, bloody, I'm going to need some actual new material here in a second because these guys heard it last week. You spoke before about your work with buyers prior.
Yes.
When it gets to the day, that experience for a buyer when they've purchased or haven't purchased, your follow-up, you're very process-driven.
Yes.
How much time are you spending with these buyers in the lead-up to ensure you've got this public listing presentation? Because I think it's one of the key things. I can think back to the very first auction I sold as an agent under the hammer, and it's not lost on me that the purchaser who bought it, I had a buyer meeting with leading into the auction.
Yes.
So are you spending in-depth time with those buyers to coach them through the process?
Absolutely. That's a massive part of it. That's a key element to selling a property under the hammer.
Yeah.
Is that relationship building and then educating them around what could happen at the auction, the bidding process, a bit of a strategy.
Yeah.
Because most people they'll set their limit, their cutoff.
Yeah.
But who starts?
Yeah.
Who starts bidding at an auction?
Yeah.
What's the process? When should I bid? Or so it's and I guess it's having them comfortable to bid, or they might have a parent or a relative who's the real estate expert. Uncle Freddie, who bought a property back in 1996, and he's running the show, but it might not be the best advice for the client. So I would think. Obviously, the initial half an hour to an hour, if the buyer has made an offer on a property, explaining the contract to them.
Yeah.
It's amazing if you sit down with a buyer and say, has anybody ever explained a contract to you? The answer would be no, 10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
I mean, we call ourselves professionals. We're getting our admin staff to email contracts via DocuSign to a person that's never bought a property before. They're looking at this document. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They might ask their solicitor for advice, who they've never met. They don't know their solicitor. They may never meet their solicitor.
Yeah.
So we're a key component. The more I can help them get comfortable around, this is the document you're signing. So that's half an hour to an hour there.
Yeah.
The phone calls every couple of days.
Yeah.
Just to keep them up to date, what's happening with the property, any changes. And then obviously that bidding strategy meeting, that's half an hour to an hour again with them before we get to the auction on Saturday. And that might be, I might have 10 bidders on a property, so that can be 5 to 10 hours invested in those buyers. But, if they buy or they don't buy, like that's 10 people that I've got solid relationships with who know
100%.
me and I know them for the future.
Yeah.
Because that's just like, it's just only one person can buy the property, but the other 5 or 6 that they will buy, and they're.
So the question isn't really then how many bidders are you going to have, Scott? It's how many bidder strategy meetings have you had in the lead up to this auction?
Absolutely.
Because I'm sure if you answered that as I've had 5.
Yep, we're selling.
Yeah. Now, if you've had none.
We're not selling.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
It's you know, I guess when I was an auctioneer or full-time auctioneer,
Yeah.
and we do in-room auctions of a Friday,
Yeah.
you'd ring the agent beforehand, and there's only a few questions you need to ask. How many offers you've had?
Yeah.
What was the highest offer?
Yeah.
And are they coming?
Yeah. Exactly. That's the
We're
question
selling.
I still ask that. What was your highest offer? Right. Are they still there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, they've bought. Okay.
yeah.
This is a challenge.
I love hearing about the buyer strategy meeting because many a times prior to auction, you go, how many bidders you got? I think I've got 1 or 2.
Yeah.
They might be turning up. They said they would turn up.
Yeah.
All those different things. So
Yeah.
that's really interesting. There wouldn't be a lot of people that do the buyer strategy meeting.
Mate, no, it's a lost art in
Yeah.
real estate, in my opinion, because
100%.
like you said before, the contract and Form 6 changes so often. There would be, and not in our business, but there would be some agents who wouldn't know how to explain a contract. Yet after 20 years in the industry for yourself, myself, and 50 or something for Nathan over there, we can probably explain a contract back to front. But it's an art. It's not even a dying art. It's not a lost art. It's an art that we should master.
Absolutely. And for me, real estate's not transactional for me.
No.
It's real. It's important. The relationship is important. If it's not fun, if I don't get that buzz out of it, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. We were having this convo yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be fun for me, and I enjoy that experience. And I think there's far too many agents, unfortunately, that are transactional that complete a sale. And so, bang, that's a sale, that's commission, in the car, drive off, and miss the very best part of it.
Yeah.
Which is that emotional kind of relationship building and having a look at this person has just bought their first home. How exciting is that?
Yeah.
Like they've saved, they've scrimped, they've missed out on properties, and now they've been able to purchase.
Yeah.
Equally, you've got the disappointed bidder who missed out, but they go away with increased education and they had a fair and equal opportunity to buy it.
Yeah.
They could see what they had to pay and they chose not to. And that's okay, but we can continue to work with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that relationship piece is like
Critical.
it's critical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
No,
Yeah.
I've always said I struggle these days when people just send a contract by DocuSign to negotiate instead of just driving down the road to the person's house and sitting down and having a conversation, talking through it.
Well, you used to have to do that, and you would sit there explaining it.
Absolutely.
100%.
And I can't imagine the amount of times I said, and these are the T's and C's, and if you're, getting a bit, you can't sleep tonight, a bit restless, just whip it out, have a quick read, you'll be asleep in a minute. And you'd read through the T's and C's with them, and you'd have a bit of a joke, and they'd ask a few questions, but you could go through line for line and rattle off the contract pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So for a seller, right, I've done a couple of listing presentations in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I got referred into a property from a friend of mine, and he rang me up and he said, Sam, whatever you do, don't speak about auctions. Anyway, so I went in there and straight away the lady said to me, she goes, the last time I sold a property, Sam, was in the year 2000. Tell me about that. Right, well, this is what happened. We went to auction. And I was like, okay. Anyway, so I was going through and she's like, method of sale. And I said, hey, I understand you don't want to talk about auctions, but let's talk about what's important to you. And she goes, well, I really want it to be done quickly. And I'm like, so what are you talking? Like, what do you mean settlement-wise? She's like, yeah, like 30 days. Once I've made a decision to sell, I want to sell.
Yep.
I'm like, okay. And then we started speaking about the conditions. And she was like, well, no, we don't need to waste time with finance clauses and all of that. Like, the house is fine. We'll get a building and pest done. We'll show them. And all of a sudden I was like, well, do you know there's only one method in Australian real estate that can guarantee you an unconditional contract and settlement in 30 days? And she's like, are you going to tell me that's an auction? And I was like, yeah. And so all of a sudden, she's gone from, I was told not to speak about it, I hate auctions from the year 2000, to wanting to go to auction.
Yep.
But aside from that, you know, the unconditional contract and those things, they were important to her. As a seller, why do you think people should be going to auction?
That's a big part of it.
Yeah.
I would think, like, we've been keeping track of numbers, figures, highest offer to sale price.
Yeah.
That extra 5%'s handy.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's one good reason.
Yeah.
If you want more money, go to auction.
Yeah.
Especially with an agent. I'll preface that with an agent that knows what they're doing.
Yes.
If the agent doesn't know what they're doing, then it will be a disaster. You won't have bidders.
Yes.
Agreed. Like, if your agent doesn't know what they're doing, don't go to auction. Also, too, I think why a big component of auctions is that, let's say, like, I've got a property going to market, the first open home is this Saturday, we'll probably get 20 groups through the property and 3 written offers. So the seller has only just come to market. They have no information other than the appraisal that they were given and the 3 or 4 appraisals from other agents. So on Saturday, they're going to be asked the question, do you take one of these offers or do you wait? Like, they'll answer that. So I don't know how many times in my career a seller's got a great offer on day one, said no, only 3 months later to go, we should have taken that first one.
Yeah.
But if it's any other method of sale other than auction, the buyer makes an offer, gets to their maximum, the answer is no, they're gone.
Yeah.
That they walk away. At an auction, they make the offer, the owner decides to go all the way to auction. It's like, well, I've met the buyer, been in there living room for half an hour saying, guys, like, the best thing you could have done was make that offer. And I've got some great news. They never kicked me out.
Yeah.
They're excited to receive your offer.
Yeah.
They are going all the way to auction, but they've asked me to tell you, thank you very much for the offer to purchase their property. They're delighted you love the property. They've said have a real good look through the marketplace, and between now and the auction, if you find something else, buy it. Otherwise, they're hoping to see you on auction day.
Yeah.
And so you get a second bite
At the cherry.
at the cherry.
Yeah.
So it's like, and really, you question, if I'm sitting in front of a seller, I've got 2 choices. I can tell them what they want to hear and be not genuine to myself or them.
Yeah.
But if I'm sitting in front of my brother or my dad, and I'm sitting down them and recommending a method of sale, it'll be auction.
Yeah.
So if I would recommend that to my family, but I don't recommend that to a seller, have I really done the right thing for them?
Yeah.
And it's you talk about the conditions. It's like building a pest inspection.
Gone.
Gone. How many times, if it's not auction, does a contract get renegotiated after the buyer gets their building and pest inspection?
For one cracked roof tile.
Yeah, one cracked roof tile, you got $5,000 off.
Yeah.
And the seller, when you're negotiating that contract, there's no way they're taking $5,000 off.
Yeah.
But a week down the track,
When it's meant to be unconditional.
they've moved on mentally. They're not in negotiation mode anymore. They're in whatever they're going to do next mode.
Yeah.
So the buyer comes back and asks for $10,000 off, and they'll say, "Well, no, we don't take 10 off, but maybe we'll take 5 off." Well, there's $5,000 gone.
Yeah, which you didn't have to.
You didn't have to. Finance. I mean, after a property's been on the market for 2 weeks, if it's not auction and hasn't sold,
There's a price issue.
There's a price issue.
Yeah.
Then it starts to go a bit stale.
Yeah.
So if you're private treaty and you've got a 21-day finance clause and that falls over, property's been on the market 21 days, hasn't sold, what's wrong with it? And then the cooling off period, the buyer can just change their mind, everybody's wasted their time, and then you go back to, So it's I just think for me I'm pretty logical, but it's a no-brainer. If I'm there telling the seller I'm working for them and I offer up a method of sale that's totally biased towards the buyer.
That creates competition.
Yeah, it creates competition. No, you don't want that.
No, we don't need people here. We
Yeah.
don't need too many people in our house competing to buy our property.
Yeah,
Just bring us one.
absolutely.
What do you got to lose?
Yeah.
To see what the maximum the market's prepared to pay for your house.
Yeah.
So, Scotty, what's your most exciting auction?
I've called or I've listed?
That you've been involved with?
There was one I remember, was on Gordon Parade in Manly. I was the auctioneer. Mark Taylor, who was a good friend of mine, not the cricketer, the real estate agent.
Yeah.
He was the
Still
agent.
called Tubby.
Still called Tubby. Yeah.
We're a smart bunch. We're real simple.
Yeah. But we had an auction. I think it took over an hour. And we started off with an audience of about 22, 23 people.
Yeah.
And by the time we finished, we had the sellers upstairs and the buyer downstairs.
Yeah.
Everyone else had gone.
Yeah.
But
Kept going.
kept going, and we sold it.
Yeah.
And
So it was a back and forth negotiation?
back and forth negotiation took an hour.
Yeah.
And I have, I mentioned before I called auctions for Michael Calder.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Michael passed away a number of years ago.
Very sad.
But on my gavel, I've got two things. I've got his name written on there.
Yeah.
And on the other side, I've got never give up.
Yeah.
So when I'm negotiating, we could be $100,000 apart.
Yeah.
If the buyer is moving by 1,000 and
Yeah.
the seller is moving by 1,000,
Yeah.
I'll keep
There's
going.
hope in the game.
There's hope in the game.
Yeah.
And it's just back and forward, back and forward, back and forward, and don't give up.
Yeah.
So many people just give up, and there's a deal
There's a deal
right
there.
in front of them.
Yeah.
But they can't see it. And they're the ones that are like, you drive away from that thinking, whoa, if I wasn't there,
That doesn't sell.
that doesn't sell.
No.
And they're the ones that it's like, that took tenacity, hard work,
Yeah.
and every single one-liner, every
Yeah.
possible angle
Yeah.
to get
You've
the deal
used every
together.
bit of your experience to get the deal done.
Absolutely. And the seller wanted it sold.
Yeah.
The buyer wanted to buy it.
Yeah.
So, they're there in the one spot. That's the other advantage of auction is the buyer's there ready to buy, the seller's there ready to sell. Mentally, they're focused on the outcome
Yeah.
rather than getting an offer in someone's living room where they're trying to get the kids dinner and the TV's on in the background and there's so much going on that you haven't got the full attention of the buyer or the seller.
Yeah.
So come auction day, everyone turns
Yeah,
up
they're
to
there
do
to
their
do.
job.
They're there to do it.
Yeah.
What's your favourite auction, Nathan?
Well, I actually was just thinking about that when you were talking. I remember there was a big company in Gympie and they wanted me to put a price, and I said we should take it to auction, but the board just said, no, that's the price. So we had one open home because we had a heap of people that were interested in it. And I remember that it was 50,000 over the list price, was the highest person. And I said to everyone, you get one shot at it, multiple offer situation. And I'll never forget the person who was the underbidder, who was $500 under. He contacted the company directly and said, I'll pay more. And I said to the company, I said, there is no way I'm going back to everyone when I've told them very clearly it's one go. And they said, well, what's the solution? And this was Thursday. And I said, on Saturday, we're going to auction it.
Yeah.
And they said, rightio, called everyone back. And the guy who was the underbidder, who thought he was smart and was going to offer him another $5,000, ended up paying another $85,000 on top, and we sold it at auction 2 days later. That was probably the most exciting one I had for a 2-day auction campaign. So someone trying to be smart and sneaky ended up proving that competition does funny things, and it cost him a lot more money. So that was. What about you, Sammy?
Mate, I think it's. I love the negotiations, and I've, certainly had my fair share of tough ones where I thought, that's unbelievable, and one definitely comes to mind where there was a really large reduction in price, and one of my next questions was going to be, how do you deal, Scott, with vendors who are overpriced? And I remember on this particular day we had a reserve at 3 million. And the agent had said to me, Sam, like 2.2 at best, like that's where the feedback is. If we get to 2.2, that's where it'll get to. And I remember being at this auction, and it was my last auction on a Sunday in Toowoomba or something like that. And I remember being there until like 7 o'clock at night. And we were literally, by the end of it, like you, we were sitting around a table, buyer, seller, just going, guys, like there's a deal to be done here. And it ended up selling for 2.5 million. So it was 300 above where the agent thought. But it was that rapid negotiation. It wasn't very rapid negotiation, but it is when you think about spending $2.5 million almost 10 years ago, quite a rapid 3 hours. But it was just like you're saying, sometimes you just have to sit there, and if everybody's willing to do a deal, they sometimes take time. So that's definitely one. My favourite up in Currumbin for David Stringer, I'd be going back 2013. Hell of a story, but short of it, 1.3 million above reserve, and you can't tell me that property sells 1.3 over expectations if they'd put a price on it at the price the owner wanted. A reserve at 2 million sells at 3.3, nuts.
And you look at that, and reserve was wrong.
Yeah,
doesn't matter though.
No,
it's still sold for what it was going to sell for.
Exactly, market value.
Yep.
Yeah. So how do you deal with vendors when their expectations might be overs? And this has been quite a long potty so far. So
yeah.
But I think this is the some of the auction gold here and some of the GOAT advice. How do you deal with vendors when they're above expectations?
Yep. So everyone.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have a job without that.
No, exactly. The
seller's right to want too much, and a buyer's right to pay as little as possible.
Absolutely. That's the game.
Yeah.
Buyers go to buyer school, sellers go to seller school.
Yeah.
Scott, we're not going to give it away.
Yeah.
We know what it's worth.
Yeah.
One around the road, around the corner sold for this. Yeah. Every other agent's telling us it's worth that.
And their house was better.
Yeah. Gold-plated PowerPoints.
Yeah, that's it.
No, it's interesting because it again comes off the back of a relationship.
Yeah.
And being honest, and you're telling the owners the truth.
Yeah.
They'll know it's the truth because the truth hurts.
Yeah.
And it's being prepared to sit there in front of an owner and have a robust conversation about what the market is saying. So it comes back to your process, obviously communicating offers, communicating the feedback, and then written reports.
Yeah.
Weekly written reports. Exactly how it comes out of the buyer's mouths.
Yeah.
What would you pay for it?
Yeah.
What would you pay for this one?
Yeah. And that's important, isn't it? It's not, hey, Scott, what do you think it's worth? It's, hey, Scott, what would you pay for
What would you pay for it?
Yeah.
Because
actual data, mate.
Yeah. Yep. Because, if someone comes through and says, oh, we think it's worth 2.5, oh, fantastic. Would you pay 2.5? No. Oh, okay. What would you pay?
Yeah.
Oh, we're not sure. Well, would you pay 2.45?
Yeah.
No. Would you pay 2.4?
Yeah.
No. Would you pay 2.35? 2.3? What would you pay? Like clearly.
There's a number.
What is it?
Yeah.
Because that's the only number that
matters.
is relevant.
Yeah.
But if you tell an owner that a buyer thinks it's worth 2.5, they'll clutch onto the 2.5. That's where their expectation.
But that buyer wouldn't have paid 2.2.
They wouldn't pay it, so it's not real. And the buyer could have been the next door neighbour who is, if that one's worth 2.5,
mine's worth 3. With the gold-plated PowerPoints.
Yeah. And so it's in those meetings, or when you present an offer to an owner, it's like you've found someone that wants to buy their property.
Yeah.
Irrespective of the level it's at.
Yeah.
You've found someone that wants to buy the property, and invariably, because it's an auction, it'll be a cash offer.
Yeah.
So no cash offer is a silly offer. And you sit in front of the sellers up, got some great news, found someone that wants to buy the property.
Yeah.
And just slide the offer across the table.
Deliver the news.
And shut up.
Yeah.
And just listen. Don't profess the, oh, look, I know it's low.
Yeah.
An offer is an offer. And it's the seller's decision to decide whether it's low or whether it's not low. And sometimes they get quite hot under the collar.
Yeah.
But it's understanding that you're just the messenger. That frustration, that's directed towards the market. It's not directed towards you.
Yeah.
So it's having understanding. It's like, so you're not prepared to accept that?
Yeah.
No, Scott, we're not prepared to accept it. It's like, okay, well, what would you accept?
Yeah. Mate, I think there's no doubt, like the way that you've described your relationships with sellers and buyers,
Yep.
mate, it would be, if I was ever selling my property again, which I've been told I'm not allowed to, mate, you'd be a hell of an agent to have on board, because I tell you, the way that you're going to work with buyers and with myself as a seller, I think is outstanding. We always like to wrap up with a little funny one.
Righto.
So
I'm scared.
these are our auction questions, and I'll start with an easy one.
Yep.
And we sort of delved into it before, and so I'm interested to hear your feedback on this one.
Yep.
But without thinking about it, on site or in rooms?
In room.
I like it. Now, this one is a little bit strange.
Yep.
Do you have like a nursery rhyme to get your vocal cords going before an auction?
Tommy Tatamus had 2 tears, tied him atop of 2 tall trees.
Nice.
Wow.
I like it. Betty bought some butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it'll make my batter bitter. So she put some better butter, put it in a bit of batter, made a bit of batter better. So it was that Betty bought a bit of better butter.
Oh, like that. Can't compete with that.
No, mate, I tell you. Nathan.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
I can't believe you two haven't won an REIQ auction after hearing that. It's amazing.
Me too.
Robbed.
And robbed.
We're auctioneers, massive egos. We got robbed for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I've never been more robbed in my life. 4 times in a row. 4 years in a row. Robbed.
Yeah, I went in 2. Made the final twice. No good.
So, Scotty, what's the big goal for 26?
Big goal for 26. It's interesting.
Should we let him in on our little bet?
Yeah.
You've got a big goal for 2026.
I've got a big goal for 2026.
Yeah.
Well, it's to be the best I can be.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, 52 years old, I don't think I've ever really set that as my goal. Like how good can I be?
Yeah.
But maintaining my health, which is, I guess you get a bit older and your priorities change. And so for me, my health is number 1, my family is number 2, and my career is number 3. It's not, real estate doesn't identify me. It's how I earn my living. But my life is outside of real estate. But one of the biggest things, we had our launch last week, and it's like, I think you asked the question yesterday, what's holding you back? Like, what do you got to do differently? And it's just speaking to more people. Like,
Mate, you're a relationship builder.
Yeah.
Like, I'd hate to come up against you at a listing table.
Yeah. So if I and so I made a commitment to Sam that I'm going to speak to 15 people every day.
Nice.
And there is a consequence.
There is a consequence.
There is a consequence.
There is a consequence, which is an interesting way of thinking. Like, people's fear of failure is like 10 times more than their need for gain. But
carrot or the stick.
Carrot or the stick.
You're a military man and clearly a stick man.
A stick works. It's like so I've made a commitment, and I've gone and bought a $250 JB gift card.
Yeah.
That's up on my whiteboard.
Yeah.
So I've got to send Sam the 15 people I speak to every day.
Yeah.
The day I don't speak to 15 people, that gift card gets presented to somebody who shall remain anonymous.
Yeah.
But they're not on my Christmas card list, put it this way.
And Scotty wants to keep it that way.
But Sam gets to write the card, choose the words that are given to that person, and I've got to sign it.
Yeah.
That is sensational.
And it's
a
so
target that hurts.
we started at about $5,000, and the reason it's at $250 is because he doesn't want to give this money up that much to that person. It could have been $5.
It could have been just the card. But he's not getting it.
This is great accountability.
And since I made that commitment, like, it's just so much has changed. Over something silly, but it's a game. Like, and real estate is a game. You just got to learn the rules and play it better.
And you said before, if it's not fun, you wouldn't do it.
No.
This is a bit of fun.
It is. It's great fun.
And it hurts if you had to do it.
Yeah.
But it's like, when I owned my own business, it was fun at the start, but then it became not fun.
Yeah.
It was lonely. You kind of, and as a sole owner in a business, everything rests on you. So when things go wrong, it's on you. You've got to go and make the sales. So there's so much pressure and so many different things to worry about. But now being part of a bigger group, we get to do all this fun stuff, and it's not lonely. It's like there's always someone to talk to. There's always somebody that is doing what you want to do. So it's good. But yeah, it's got to be fun. If it's not fun, I don't want to do it. And BB, who works with me, we have a lot of fun. It's important. Like I haven't had a day since BB started working with me. I haven't had a day where I felt like I don't want to come to work today.
Yeah, BB's a legend.
Yeah, and she again, she's like a sponge. So I've got all this knowledge that I'm not getting any younger. I'm not going to be working forever.
Yeah.
It needs to go somewhere. It's a shame if it's wasted. So if I can help other people along the way establish careers and teach them not how, I mean, there's probably better ways to do it, but it's how I do it.
Yeah.
It's just a good, fun way to live your life, earn an income and have some fun.
Well, I've seen some of your social media. You're certainly having fun.
Yeah. That's another thing when you get a bit older, you care less about what people think about you.
Yeah. Exactly.
So the social media is something I wasn't comfortable with at the start, but
you looked pretty comfortable running around Wynnum the other year.
You know, Mankini.
Yeah.
There's not much I won't do. That was raising money for charity.
No, absolutely.
Yep.
Well, I look forward to ringing Sam every month to see whether you've hit that target.
Well, if you see someone getting round with a new set of a new headset, you'll know I haven't lived up to my commitment.
Scotty, mate, absolute pleasure. I love talking auctions with you. No doubt you're the goat of auctions. And, mate, we're excited to see what 2026 brings for you.
Absolutely, as am I. Thanks, gentlemen.
Cheers, Scotty.
Good on you, Scott.
Thanks so much for joining us for another episode of One Goat and the Property Guys. Remember, make sure you vote for if they were a goat or a spud during the last episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe to YouTube and at Apple Podcasts so that we can keep creating great goat-worthy memories.